Okay, let's say we're given side A, which is 2, and then we're given side C, which is 1, and then angle B, which is 10 degrees. Okay, there is no ambiguous case in the law of cosines, but there is a little trick you need to remember. Okay, so let me tell you what law of cosines are. Law of cosines states this: if you have a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of angle A. That's one. You can also have b squared is equal to a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine of angle B. And then 3, okay, law of cosine says c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of angle C. Okay, law of cosines, we need that whenever we don't have an angle and a side across from that. So if you were to draw an arbitrary triangle here, call this A, call this B, and call this C. Okay, you know this to be 2. You know that angle is 10 degrees, not drawn to scale. And of course C is 1. Okay, so right now I have this side, I have the angle in the middle, and I have that side. So I cannot use law of sines because I don't know what this side is, because I need an angle and a side across from that. So therefore I have to use law of cosines. Since I do know what angle B is, so that means I can find side B. So I go to this particular formula, which says b squared. So that means I'm going to have a b squared is equal to a squared, which is 2 squared, plus 1 squared, which is my c squared, minus 2a, which is 2, times c, which is 1, times cosine of angle B, which is 10 degrees. Okay, so now I just have to calculate everything. Okay, so I have a b squared is equal to 4 plus 1, which is 5, minus 2 times 2 times 1, which is 4 cosine of 10 degrees. Now I have to find out what cosine of 10 degrees is. Cosine of 10 degrees, which is 0.9. Okay, this is 5 minus 4 times 0.9848. Okay, if I multiply that by 4, okay, I'm going, now this turns into b squared is equal to 5 minus, okay, 3.9392. Okay, and then I subtract those two values, I am going to get 1.067. So my b squared is equal to 1.067. So my b is equal to the square root of that. So I'm going to take square root of that. Let me find the square root button here. Okay, where is my square root button? Oh, come on. Alright, I'm just going to raise parentheses. Okay, 1.067, and I'm going to raise that to 1 divided by 2, 1/2 power. Okay, that will give me b is approximately 1.033. Okay, I found this side now. I found side B, so I'm going to use side B. So I know what this is. Side B happens to be 1.033. Okay, once I know that, okay, I want to find the largest angle next, okay, and I want to use law of sines. Okay, so I can go sine of 10 degrees is to 1.033 is to sine of angle A is to 2. Okay, so we're going to find sine of 10 degrees. Okay, and then we're going to divide that by 1.033, and then we're going to multiply that by 2. Okay, so now what that tells me is that implies my sine of A is equal to 0.3362, and then my A is the sine inverse. Okay, so sine inverse of 0.3362. Okay, it turns out to be approximately 19.6 degrees, which is 20 degrees. We get sine of 20 degrees. So sometimes our calculator, you can't believe everything your calculator says. So let's take a look at this. Why is this giving us 20 degrees? Okay, and we know there's no way that can be 20 degrees, because that is the longest side. So that means that angle, okay, should be the largest angle. Okay, that's one. Two, if that's 20 degrees, then it says C's got to be the largest angle, because B is 10 degrees. So B is 10, A is 20, so C's got to be 150 degrees. You know that's not true. Okay, so what is angle A then? Well, you're getting 20 degrees because of this reason. When we took sine of a positive value, our calculator is calculating that angle right there, because this side here is 0.3362, and it's telling us that's 20 degrees. Okay, so we know that can't be true. So there's another place where sine is positive, which is in this quadrant right here, and that will give us 0.3362 also, but that's 20 degrees less than 180, so that means this angle is actually 160 degrees. Okay, and that makes more sense. Instead of 20 degrees, that's really 160 degrees. And if that's 160, and this is 10, obviously my angle C is approximately 10 degrees also. And that makes sense because look, my B value is 1.033 and my C is 1, so they're going to be very close to each other. Okay, so that's my triangle. So you got to be careful, okay, when you're solving these problems, because you know you're going to get, okay, you're going to get an angle that is big, okay, but it's not going to show up on your calculator. It's bigger than 100 and bigger than 90 degrees because of my sine inverse. So it would have probably worked out for us if we solve for angle C first. Okay, so solve for the smaller one versus the bigger one, and then that will work out because we know the 2 is going to be the biggest angle. So let's try that. Okay, so let's go sine of 10 degrees is to 1.033, and then that's equal to sine of C is to 1. And then we found out that the sine of 10 degrees, okay, sine of 10 degrees, okay, and then divide that by 1 point, okay, 0.033, okay, and that is going to get us, okay, this turns into 0.1681 is equal to sine of C, so sine inverse of that, so sine inverse of 0.1681, okay, and that is going to give us 9.6 degrees. So C is approximately 9.6, okay, 7 degrees, or round that up to whole degree, 10 degrees. So that's 10 and that's 10, then we can find 160. And so it might be easier, okay, so you won't get confused, is to not solve for the big one. But when you solve for the big one, Okay, you might not get it in your calculator and you have to use some common sense. Okay, alright. So I want to do one more. And that one I would like to do for you is number 22. Okay, this is number 22. Okay, number 22, you're given side A, which is equal to 4, and side B, which is equal to 3, and side C, which is equal to 6. Okay, so we're going to draw a random triangle. Okay, we'll call that A, B, and C, not drawn to scale. Okay, A is 4, B is 3, C is 6. Okay, now, we don't know any of the angles. So we're going to have to find one angle. It doesn't really matter which one you find. So let's find A. So let's go A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC times cosine of angle A. So plug in everything we have. A happens to be 4, B happens to be 3, and C happens to be 6, minus 2 times 3 times 6 times cosine of angle A. Alright, this is 16 is equal to 9 plus 36 minus 2 times 3, which is 6 times 6, which is 36, okay, times cosine of angle A. Now remember, we have to add that first, so 16 is equal to 45 minus 36 times cosine of angle A. So I've got to take the 45 over, so subtract, and I'm going to get a negative answer, so 45 minus 16 is equal to 29, so it'll be negative 29, okay, is equal to negative 36 times cosine of angle A. So when I divide 29, negative 29 by negative 36, okay, I'm going to get a positive, and that turns out to be cosine of angle A is equal to 0.8056. So I'm going to take cosine inverse of that, so cosine inverse of 0.8056, okay, which is going to give me approximately 33 degrees. So A is equal to 33 degrees. So A is 33 degrees. Okay, as soon as I find that, I can keep doing law of cosines, but I also, right now, I have an angle and I have a side across from that. Okay, so I might as well just go ahead and find my triangle or my other angles using law of sines. Okay, so I'm going to go sine of 33 degrees is to 4 is equal to sine of angle B is to 3. The reason I picked B, angle B versus angle C, is because I know that my angle C is going to be the largest, and I want to stay away from that because my calculator doesn't calculate any angles in the second quadrant, only the first and the fourth quadrant when I take sine inverse. Right, so sine of 30 right now, I have to find sine of 33 degrees. So sine of 33 degrees, and then I got to divide that by 4. Okay, so sine of 33 degrees, okay, divide that by 4, and that turns out to be, okay, sine of 33, okay, divide that by 4, and that turns out to be approximately 0.1362 is equal to sine of B over 3. So I'm going to multiply that by 3, which is going to give me sine of angle B is 0.4085. So I got to take sine inverse, okay, sine inverse of 0.4085, okay, and that is going to give me 24 degrees, so my B is equal to 24 degrees approximately. So this is 24 degrees, okay, so that's 24 degrees. So the third angle, that's easy to find. I'm going to add 24 degrees and plus 33 degrees. Okay, I'm going to subtract that from 180 degrees. 180 minus that. which is going to give me a 180, okay, minus 57 degrees. So 180 minus 57 degrees, which is going to give me 123 degrees. So 123 degrees is this angle, angle C, 123 degrees. 123 degrees. Now remember, when you take sine inverse of anything, you're not going to get 123 degrees, because 123 degrees exists in quadrant 2, so you sine inverse, your calculator only gives you quadrant 1, quadrant 4, so that's why I stay away from the big angle, okay, and I want to stay with the smaller angle, okay? Alright, that's everything for today. We'll stop that.